What's up everybody, Happy New Year. Welcome back to the channel. And it's been a little bit since I've posted. It's been freezing cold outside, so haven't really had a chance. We had the holidays. It's been pretty wet here as well, and we've got some more cold days coming, potentially some snow on Monday. So what I'm doing today is an in the bag. I figured it'd be nice starting the year off, 2025, seeing what I've been throwing and what I'm liking and what I'm taking into the season this year. So I'm gonna start off with my bag. I've got the Pound Octothorpe bag here. I've had it since I think 2019 or late 2018. About a year after I started playing, I went ahead and invested in a really good bag. This was a custom bag that I had made. It served me really well. You've got competitors on the market now, but you know, Pound is where you go if you want the top of the line. I think it will stay that way for a while. American made as well. Just love this bag, rides super good on the back. So starting off, I'm gonna start with my putters. It's KC AVRs, and it's only really white KC AVRs. So I'm rocking, I have two that are older. I've been putting these since probably 2018. These here, and they're very worn out. You can tell the stamps are barely on there. All kinds of nicks and dings on them, and a lot of basket hits, a lot of gouges, but you know, they always kind of sand themselves back down to smooth after a while. So these are my straighter putting putters. I like to have a putter in my offhand when I'm putting, just out of habit and routine from my practice putting. So that's why I carry two. And these almost are a beadless AVR, a beadless KC Pro AVR. With Ken Climo leaving Innova, I'm not really sure what that's gonna look like, but I've got quite a stash of these put away, so I should be all right for a little while. So I'm rocking all KC AVRs, white, max weight, 175 grams. Like I said, these are older ones, a little bit straighter, a little bit more tailwind putts. I'll rock those. And then these two, I've been putting since about 2020, so they're pretty old as well, but these are quite a bit older. And these just, you know, a little more stability to them. They're not quite as worn out. They can hold up in some wind. They still have some bead left to them as well. Both 175 grams, and yeah, I'm not somebody that has like a specific putter that they putt with. I can pull both of these out or both of these out. Whichever one I'm putting, I'm confident in when I actually let it go. So rocking 4 putters right now that are like putting putters. Moving into my side pocket, this is where I'll usually keep some like of my main throwing putters. It just depends how many I have in there. I don't try to put more than 3. You could stuff more in the side pockets, but I try not to. Usually have some form of like a flippy putter in there, so we'll just start with that first and work our way up. I guess if I'm gonna start flippy, I'd start with the Sonic, just the whatever material this Sonic is. I don't even know. I guess you call it DX or something like that. But it's just the infinite disc stamped Sonic. These are awesome for utility. I think of them, I like to lean on like a forehand approach sometimes. If for like that hyzer, I'll throw that. But sometimes in the woods, you'll have to throw a backhand or like a patent pending, and you need it to gradually turn right through the air to get to the basket. So a lot of times I'll prefer this with just a little ante and a little float with very low spin. You don't need a lot of, or low speed. With some spin and low speed, it'll just kind of flutter over to the right and hit the line you're looking for. So I really like it for that shot when I can't make the forehand work. Next I've got, you can make some runs with that as well. I haven't really made a lot, but I've hit a lot of baskets just kind of like chipping up on those lines I'm talking about left to right. Moving up in, not really stability, but I guess a little bit of stability. I've got a Paige Pierce Fierce, and this is just my go-to hyzer flip go right putter. If I'm in the woods, I need to throw straight down the fairway, standstills, patent pendings, I can rely on this. If I need to throw it very hard and have it turn all the way over and go right, this will do it. It's a great underpower. It's got a really nice chalky feel in this plastic. I think this is just like, I don't even know what this is, baseline plastic for Discraft. Love this thing. It's very beat in, it's very trustworthy, and it just goes straight with a little turn to the right. And next for my throwing putters, I'm actually gonna grab one out of the main compartment here. I've got my Nova. This is an interesting Nova I got from a buddy, Jesse Neal. Shout out to him, because without him, I would not have this disc. And he's an Innova guy, Millennium. collector and thrower, and he had some of these original Novas that do not break like the new ones do. You can see it's very flexible plastic. Even in the cold, it's just like this. So this thing is money. It is dead straight, slight hyzer, it just goes straight. It'll fade a little bit through the hyzer. You can throw it, stand it up and throw it flat, it'll go dead straight. You can ante it and get some turn to the right, and that's very soft and grippy on the ends, so it'll just grab the ground. And I really am liking throwing this. For just like, it's similar to the Fierce, except this doesn't, if it flips, it just goes straight. It doesn't flip and turn right. Like, it doesn't turn like these types of discs do. Novas are very hard for some people to throw, but I think it's also a really good disc to learn how to throw. If you can control it, you have a very clean release and nose down release. So if you're struggling with your form, if you can still find these, I mean, you won't be able to find an OG like this probably, but the new ones, just don't throw them into trees and they won't break. What happens is they crack right here on the rim where it meets the mold in the new ones, because this top plate is way too hard. But this one's nice and soft. I got 2 of these, so hoping to be throwing them for quite a while this season. And I haven't got to use it in a tournament yet, so I'm really dialing it in my practice rounds and while I'm practicing this off season. And so it's gonna be fun throwing that and hitting some lines. Next, moving up, next stability, I've got 2 more throwing putters in the bag, I believe, right now, is the P3X. So I got this from my buddy Austin Ruse. This is the Ironstone edition, Color Glow. I'm really liking this Color Glow plastic. You'll see some of this throughout my bag, just in other molds from Discmania. This is like a stable Luna, just a stable finishing putter. I can throw it very hard, get glidey hyzers that'll finish. It'll hold up in some wind as well, so loving this for those approaches and off the tee here in the Carolinas. Last putter, mid-range you want to call it, I mean approach disc, I like to call it, is my Toro. This is the Calvin Heimberg Toro. Also shout out Jesse Neal, hooked me up with this older run of the Calvin with the big old neck on the bull there. So yeah, I like this one a lot. It's very overstable, super good for forehands. This disc pushed all the zones out of my bag. I used to be a Get Freaky Glow thrower, a zone like Crystal thrower, Big Z thrower. This just is a little bit better than those discs. It's a little bit beefier, fills your hand up a little bit more, and I can just trust it a little bit more as well in windy conditions and approaches. So loving the Toro. If you haven't tried one out, try one out. I've got quite a few of them and I kind of work them in and out of my bag. And then moving into mid-range, so that's my putter lineup. I guess I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 throwing putters, 4 putting putters. I think that's pretty standard, right? Moving to the mid-ranges, starting flippiest to straightest, I've got a Champion Mako 3 here. So this is a older run Mako 3 Champion. It's kind of soft, which I like. I don't like super stiff discs. So it's got some softness to it. It feels really good. This is my hyzer flip up. If I throw it very hard or a little less hyzer, closer to flat, it will turn for me. But this is just a fairway hitter. Hyzer up a fairway, 330, 300 plus. This is my go-to there. Tailwinds, this one will go straight. I don't have to worry about it like fading out or anything too quick. Next, a new addition to the bag recently is the MD1. Austin Ruse again, buddy of mine. He's a big Discmania guy. He throws a lot of Discmania. Knows the plastic very well as well, and he told me to try one of these, so I tried it and it works great. It's basically in between my Mako 3 and my MD3 I'm gonna show next. It's just a straight disc. It's got a touch more stability than the Champ Mako 3, and it just feels really good in the hand. This is the MD1, so Color Glow MD1. I love this blue Color Glow plastic. Like I said, it's just got a little more softness to it. That's what I like a lot. It gets pretty cold here in North Carolina, and in the late fall and the winter and early spring. So I like some softness when it's cold out there. I don't like a super stiff, rigid disc. You don't get as much glide out of those. Last but not least, for my mids, I've got an Iron Samurai MD3 in this Metal Flake. This is the first run, super sick, man. This disc is awesome. My wife got me this as a present. I told her I wanted a gold stamped Iron Samurai when they came out. Somehow she made it happen. I don't know how. I know they were hard to get, but it just looks so good with that gold stamp on there, I think. And this is just, as you can imagine, just a little bit more overstable than these other two mid-ranges. It'll fade a little harder. It goes farther than my Toro on backhands, which gives me a similar, pushing hyzer flight. It can hold up in the wind. It can get some nice big swings and a right to left, getting the wind under the plate and just taking it left. So just a stable mid-range, really. That's all it is. It works great for it. Let's move it into fairways. We'll do 7-ish speeds first. Pretty simple, man. Like you can see, I kind of got 3 molds in the mids. Putters, I'm a big putter guy. I love throwing putters, so it's really hard for me to kind of dwindle that down. A lot of them have some more purposes. So moving into the fairways, I have this disc. It's a very old disc around the Triad area here in North Carolina. I won it at a putting league. My buddy Asa that was running the putting league a couple winters ago, he had a box of discs that you could pick through if you won. I think it was like the night or the long putt, something like that. So I ended up winning that and was fortunate enough. I went in his discs bag to look and see what he had and was just feeling stuff. I grabbed this and I was like, wow, this feels really good. And I was like, that's a very interesting stamp. Hello Kitty, I don't, associate with Hello Kitty, but it's kind of funny and ironic, right? So just a really nice Star Eagle. So it's a Star Eagle. It's a Star E on the bottom, 175 grams. It's still 175 grams. I don't know how it's beat up to heck. And this is just a hyzer flip machine, super beat in. Flip up for me and just dead straight. Like a lot of hyzer, probably like 14, 15 degrees hyzer. Flip it up, just pushes forever. And it's super nice because why people are so attached to Innova. And this is just something that I've observed over the years. The Innova discs like this, the ones they made, they started off overstable, and as they beat in, they get a little bit straighter through the mid-flight. But as they lose speed, what the beauty of an Innova disc is, as they lose speed, the stability comes back that it had originally for some of the finish. So you can throw these in winds, and they'll get slowed down at the end of the flight. They don't just turn and burn like some of your other manufacturers' discs that maybe when you bought it brand new, it was nice and straight and perfect and had some fade, but you hit a couple of trees, starts flipping over. That's the beauty of an Innova disc, and that's why you hear a lot of players still to this day handing off original destroyers, first run destroyers that have been thrown this entire time on the tour, thrown 80 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour by these top guys. And that's the beauty of them. That's how they fly. So if you wonder why people love cycling discs so much from Innova, that's the main reason. You don't really hear about that a lot from other brands, at least to my knowledge. It could be just the bubble I'm in, but I know the Innova discs do that. Here's kind of an example. So that's my hyzer flip machine. I can very well manipulate it, tell it kind of what I want it to do just by putting a certain degree of hyzer, hitting it hard enough to make it fly a certain way. That's the Star Eagle. That's what that disc is for. It was in my bag. The next disc that goes a little farther, it's a little more finicky, but it's got a very good place in my bag, is the Essence by Discmania. And this one, it's in this Neo, is this Neo? Yeah, Neo plastic. It feels really good. It's kind of like a star-ish, softish star material. They go very far and they love to hyzer flip. I'm a big hyzer flip guy. And so I'll throw this if I want just a little bit farther flight than this Eagle. It's an 8-speed. I feel like it is a little bit faster than the Eagle. And so I'll throw this tailwinds. It'll go very far. So I love leaning on this in those conditions. Headwinds, really not throwing it much. I'll throw that Hello Kitty a little bit in some headwinds, just power it down and still get a good flight. But yeah, I love the Essence for just not quite a distance driver shot, but I just want to hyzer flip and go a long ways. And then last in my fairways, I guess, of these 7-ish speeds is the FD Jackal by Discmania. It's the Color Glow, kind of this aqua blue. Super overstable. This thing's crazy. It's like a baby Firebird, but still has glide. Very good disc to throw. It complements my other discs very well. If I have any headwind, I'll just rip this really hard on a hyzer and I don't worry about it flipping over or doing anything crazy. Since it is by heart a straightish disc, it's an FD, it will not give me those super hard fades you'll get out of like a Firebird and things. So if I do saw it off a little bit, I'll still get a little bit more of like a straight push. So I really like this disc, feels really good in the hand. And I'm glad it's very overstable because it works for my bag. So that's the low fairways. Let's get into some of the higher fairways here, like 9 speeds and stuff. So yeah, we'll start with my Firebirds. I'll sit these back in the bag so I don't forget. I have a very flat, this was a Sneaky Pete Classic disc. My wife actually played the tournament and she got this disc, and I was like, it sat on the shelf for a long time. She didn't throw it much, and so I grabbed it one day. It's 165 grams, so it's actually a little light, but I feel like it can go, it flies a little bit faster for me where it is light. So I'll throw this really hard on backhands where I want like that Firebird flight, but I just want it to go a little bit farther and get there a little bit quicker. This one's really great for that. So it's just a Champion Firebird, very flat, very firm and stiff, you know, FAF as they say. Feels good, forehand, backhand. And this one's a new one. Like I usually rotate an Overstable Firebird, kind of come and goes. Champion Firebird, I've got like a tie-dye one. I don't think it's up here, but I kind of rotate them in and out. They all do the same thing. But this one does something that the other ones don't do, and it is extremely overstable and will flare like you wouldn't believe. So I've been loving this. My buddy Levi Secrets got me this, and boy, this thing is sick. It will flare and like double flare, super overstable, skip shots, wind. Haven't really forehanded it yet, but I imagine it's just super sharp hook flares and stuff. So it's been very fun to throw. It's actually opened a shot up in my bag. I thought I just couldn't throw flare shots anymore, but I just wasn't throwing the overstable discs, I guess. He put a pretty sick dial on this, kind of like cotton candy in the air. It's cool. So appreciate that, man. That's gonna be rocked this year on for the season. And then my last two kind of fairways are PDs. So I've got a second run S-Line PD, got from my buddy Cole. This one's really nice. It's just my straight PD. You know, it's kind of like the Eagle. It's not quite as flippy. It'll fade at the end a little bit. So if I'm in some tailwinds, I'll throw this really hard and a little flatter, and it'll just go straight and just a little longer than those other fairway discs. Then I've also got a Color Glow PD. This is brand new. I've been throwing this a lot and really liking it. It just punches and has like a slight finish. So it's very good for attacking fairways, flies far, you know. PDs, I'm starting to really like a lot. I kind of had messed around with Thunderbirds in the past, but just never really like enjoyed the feeling in the hand with them. But the PD fits my hand really good. So looking forward to throwing this really pretty Huck Lab stamp PD on the course this year. All right, going into drivers, I mean, you can see pretty simple bag. I've got all the shots I feel like I need, and so I carry 4 drivers. I don't need a lot. Flippiest one is this Raptor Destroyer. I think this was the first ones they put out for Ricky, and this one just happened to have like a very like flat profile, so there's not like a big hook as it goes into the rim here. Towards the middle of the flight plate. So it's very flat and flush. I don't know if you can see it. But this is very flippy. So I can hyzer flip this and get it to roll all the way over and fade and like finish to the right. Tailwinds, it goes very far. Rollers, I can throw this on rollers. It kind of does it all for the flippy Destroyer slot there. I've also got a Philo Destroyer. This thing just absolutely bombs. This was one of the newer runs. I don't know if it was this year or last year, but really cool disc. 168 grams, just that star plastic, and this smashes out of a hyzer for me. It'll flip up, kind of fade a little bit, and then come back at the end, you know, 450 or whatever, that it gets out there. So loving this kind of in between that super flippy one. It can handle a little bit more wind, but I rarely throw it in headwinds. It'll just kind of turn and not really come back at the end. So for that next shot, I've got just a pop top Paul Macbeth 4-time Destroyer here. Solid disc, super pop top. If you get this up in the wind and you want to really catch a flight, it'll just take it forever. And I don't know if you know, but the dome on a disc is what will let it have that consistent finish. So the flatter your disc, and this is tough with you know, forehands and like flat Firebirds, you know, obviously they're very overstable, but for like discs with glide, I would say, if you have a dome, you're gonna highly likely get a more consistent finish. As it slows down, it'll let it fly more true. So it'll bring in that like 3 fade on the disc. Whereas if it's flippy, your variance will be of like left to right will be bigger. If you ante it too much, you'll have a longer glide right. If you hyzer it too much, you'll have a sharper finish right to left on a backhand. And then if you have some dome to the disc, you'll have a more subtle right turn and a subtle finish back to the left. So there's a little bit more true for the distance drivers that I've found. Now I do throw some flat ones like this Philo. It's got a slight dome, but you know, that could partially be why those are my flippier ones, because they are a little straighter and they don't have a big dome on them. This has got a nice heartbeat and it's a lightweight 170-ish gram. That's what I like in my distance drivers, 170 around there. But yeah, I really like this just to do it all. Just flip ups, just pushes straight forever and fades pretty good. Big hyzer disc too. And then really my like forehand distance, I just rock this Wraith, Garrett Girthy Wraith, super pop top, which is weird because it doesn't necessarily feel super good in the hand. Normally I would like a flat disc for a forehand, but I just think I trust the dome so much on this, it'll fly true in some wind. I don't worry about like accidentally rolling my wrist over and the disc just going left. The dome of the disc will just help it kind of fly more true and get a good finish. So that's my bag. I hope it gave some people some insight. You know, that's what I plan on throwing this year, at least starting it off. Try to narrow it down, keep it pretty dialed in. You know, obviously stuff will come in and out. But yeah, that's just documenting my bag for the year. And just want to shout out back9discs.com. That's my sponsor. Check them out. They've got one of the top rated courses, which is Neatman Creek Disc Golf in North Carolina. It's on UDisc. It's a great course to play. It's private, but you can get on there easily. You just sign up and they'll let you come on and play. So check it out. It's on Disc Golf Scene, Neatman Creek Disc Golf. And also Obtuse grip bags. Definitely didn't want to leave them out. Got some great grip bags. I mean, these guys, they make the dustiest bag. And what's cool about their bags, a lot of dust. I mean, look, it's just dusting up like crazy, right? Yeah, that's it, man. So if you guys have any questions or any suggestions on if you think I have a hole in my bag or something I should try, let me know. I'll be happy to check it out. And till then, take it easy, guys. Thanks for joining.